E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial is one of my favorite films in spite of everything I believe. The problem with Spielberg is that there aren't any. He's almost offensively inoffensive or aggressively innocuous. All the Spielberg films I like today are the ones I discovered when I was a kid. Nostalgia is manipulative. I don't trust what that says about his actual abilities. I wish there was a film I liked of his that I first saw as an adult, but there's not, and that's curious to me. Spielberg is a notorious sentimentalist in the tradition of Capra. His childlike sentimentality seems to work in films like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, and E.T., but in films with adult subject matter, his filmic language is tasteless. Saving Private Ryan is propaganda, The Color Purple is a moralist mess, and Schindler's List, well, I feel Kubrick offered the best criticism of it with The Holocaust was about failure, and Schindler's List is a film about success, and that's what's wrong with it. Spielberg's fans, taking after Kevin Williamson's Dawson Leary, seem to view the world in such a naive way that it borders on a narcissistic insincerity. Spielberg's greatest cinematic accomplishments not only infantilize his audience, but with the invention of the blockbuster came the infantilization of the film industry itself. Spielberg is a most dangerous auteur almost on account of how outrageously safe his culture-defining films always are. Being a Spielberg fan is often a sign of emotional immaturity, and I wish there weren't so many of them. It's sad, embarrassing, and it makes me uncomfortable to see so many copy-and-paste young men who've made shrines to their childhood as represented on film. And yet, after all that, E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial is undeniably one of my favorite films. All film lovers are sick people, and some are sicker than others, but none are as sick or as ill as Spielberg fans. E.T. is a film I watched religiously when I was very young, and I don't just mean I watched it over and over, which I did. I mean I watched it religiously, as if I were expecting the film to save me from something. When E.T. and Elliot are saying goodbye, and E.T. points to the child's face with a glowing finger, he says, "I'll be right here." Forgive the impression. E.T. is a coming-of-age film. More than a fable of a boy and his dog, it's about maturing and growing up. E.T. will forever be in our minds. Maybe a part of us should always be childlike. E.T. wants us to grow up, but it wants us to be sensitive people, and I can't think of anything wrong with that. E.T. is centered on a family, a newly broken home. It's about the difference between being abandoned by an irresponsible father figure and nurturing a wounded being to help it transcend as a good father should and would. It's about the psychic link children form with their rapidly vanishing innocence, and Spielberg is making a plea for sensitivity. The shot composition of the film is extraordinary. E.T. is deeply astonishing. It's a deeply astonishing picture. I cry every time the score by John Williams swells and Elliot and E.T. fly over the moon and stir that sensitive part of myself Spielberg wants to see illuminated. E.T. wants me to feel everything I could possibly feel, and I do. Steven Spielberg wants to make the world a more sensitive place. E.T. has my whole heart. I am blinded by the light of my love for this one. It's breathtakingly magical. E.T. taught me eternal sensitivity. Something should be said about the films of our youth. I needed E.T. when I was Elliot's age. I come from an abusive home, and I remember feeling so misunderstood. E.T. spoke to my soul, because everything outside of the TV screen wanted to hurt me. I wanted the film to save me from something, And it did, over and over again. Yet E.T. is about saving your inner child and keeping it safe from harmful and malicious forces, faceless organizations. It's about letting go and holding on. E.T. will always protect me, just as I will always protect it. E.T. is a perfect film. Is it different than the Spielberg films I criticize? No. And thank God for that.